Hello, fans, and welcome to this exclusive Fans Perspective episode. I'm your host, Steve Hatch, and today I'm here with a special guest. He is a independent wrestler, one half of Team Tremendous, Bill Carr.
Hey guys, how are you?
Oh, we're okay, Bill. How are you?
Not too bad. Just living life, one day at a time.
As it is, Well, thank you for joining us, and we're going to get right into it. One of the reasons why we brought you here is, of course, earlier in the week we had the unfortunate passing of Dusty Rhodes. Very influential, one of the greatest of all time, and you actually had the pleasure of working with Dusty down in FCW daily. Really, I mean, how was it like learning from a legend like that, and how much better did he, make you and the class as a whole?
Well, me personally, I'd say almost single-handedly made me who I am today as a wrestler. Yeah, he was unbelievable. He, as far as promos and being comfortable in your own skin, there was no better person to deal with than him. And to have him there on a daily basis was a blessing. He would talk to me. I would go to him after promo class every Wednesday after everybody left, and I would sit down and have a conversation with him, and just go over things. And he would tell me how he saw a lot of himself in me, being both guys who are not that typical wrestler mold, and he had all these different ideas for me and everything. And he one of the ideas, he was the one who discovered Big Bubba Rogers, the Big Boss Man. And essentially that is the idea that he wanted to give me at first when I got down there. And I don't know if you can tell now, my whole wrestling attire and my whole gimmick is pretty much surrounded around Big Bubba Rogers. But that's what he wanted to do with me at first. And then pretty early on, get a call from John Laurinaitis saying, giving me the whole Bobby Dutch gimmick and what they wanted to do with me and all that stuff. But even with that, like, Dusty helped me out so much with that. They wanted me to be like a big, loud, obnoxious Texan from Newburgh, New York. And I couldn't talk with a southern accent for the life of me, or at least like a believable one. So he just told me to just like run with it and turn it into my own thing. So then I just started making noises and not being able to talk and just acting crazy. And so he helped me a lot with that gimmick too.
Yeah, speaking about this Texan gimmick, you recently on Instagram, I believe it's the day of Dusty's passing, you posted a picture of a bull rope he gave you.
Yes, that was given to me from him for this gimmick. I wanted to portray myself as the Stan Hansen type, and he had this laying around, and he was like, "Here, just take this, use it in your gimmick, use it however you want." This, I believe, was actually used in the bull rope match between him and Randy Orton.
Oh, wow.
From I don't know how many years ago. I think was it Great American Bash when they brought that back, maybe?
Yeah, a few years back.
Yeah, so that it was used during that. It was also used like during for matches down at FCW and everything. But yeah, this is something that I'll hold on to for the rest of my life, and it's priceless now to me. It was before, but now
even
it
more
really
so.
is.
So going back to legends like Stan Hansen and Dusty Rhodes, who or what led you to become interested and want to become a professional wrestler?
Well, becoming a professional wrestler, I was always interested in it for as long as I can remember. As far as wanting to get into wrestling, I was definitely inspired by, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, those types. But then when I really started getting into wrestling and really started watching it as a I guess a wrestler's perspective or whatever. Once I got older and it became obvious that this is what I really wanted to do, like Stan Hansen, I got into Bruiser Brody, even Abdul the Butcher, like the hardcore stuff. I was always a big fan of that. The hardcore, I was in the technical. I was a big fan of too. Jerry Lynn was one of my favorites. But wrestling wise, I'd say the biggest inspirations are probably Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody, those types. So I try to. I'm not very coordinated, so a lot of the guys that I wrestle with, they say like my style is sloppy, but that's how I want it to be. I want it to be a sloppy style, so it looks gritty and it looks real. And once I tell them that, they're like, oh, you know what? That does make a lot of sense now, because like some people who I work with for the first time, and I start moving around how I move around, they get nervous thinking I'm not going to be there for different spots and all this stuff, and I just have to explain to them afterwards that that's the way I work. I'm there for whatever you need me to do, and I expect you to do the same. But yeah, that's and that style is very, just out of control, like Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody.
So now, of course, you have to get trained when you first get into wrestling. So I want to go back to those early years when you first got trained. Explain, the experience of, taking that first bump, learning those basics, and, what it was like when you were first training to become a professional wrestler.
It's burped. I'm sorry.
It's real. We'll leave it in.
Good. So I first got trained by Tony DeVito of ECW fame. Is that him? There he is.
Yeah, that's him, all right.
There he is. Beautiful. Beautiful man. Yeah, I had been wrestling for my high school, and I had noticed him. His son wrestled, I think, 3 years behind me. And I noticed him at one of the practices one time. So I just went up to him afterwards and was like, hey, I'm Bill, introduced myself and everything. But it wasn't until I think I graduated high school when I first started training. And he was very... It wasn't what I expected. I expected to get, the crap kicked out of me all the time and... the old school style.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough where I didn't have to. I mean, with one other guy, Kenny Crofton, and Tony as well, we were trained together. For whatever reason, DeVito hated Crofton's face, which I don't blame him. So any chance DeVito got, he would just beat the shit out of him. And it was hilarious. It was good. It was a good time. But whenever that would happen, me and Tony would just jump off the ring apron and let it happen and just watch and enjoy every moment of him. He brought him to tears a few times. Now, I mean, if you've seen Crofton before, he looks like a big brooding man who looks like he could take a lot of punishment. I guess not.
Well,
DeVito made him cry.
Made a man out of him.
Yes. now he's having a kid, right?
Yes.
Good for him. Well, good for him.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Kenny Crofton. Congrats on having the...
From crying in the ring to having kids.
Yep.
Anyway, you went to a WWE tryout, not a couple years after you started training.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that tryout camp you went to.
Well,
what was that experience like?
That was pretty. It was awesome that I got to go have a tryout with WWE. I remember looking online one day and coming across a little story saying WWE was having tryouts in OVW for $100. So I was in what was supposed to be my last year of college, I guess. I never graduated. We'll get into that. and it was like midterms, and I had 2 midterms the day of the WWE tryout. So I was like, yeah, you know what, screw it, I'll just get these midterms, and I flew myself out to OVW, did the tryout. Now the tryout was 2 days long. Um, Honestly, we didn't do anything really. We got there, it was broken up into 4 different stations. First station was you do a few drills, a few rolls, and you run the ropes a little while. That was it. Didn't even break a sweat. Next station was getting a partner in chain wrestling on the outside for like 45 minutes. Again, I was very inexperienced at the time and I didn't really know what to do. But the one thing I could do, and I would do it every time the camera came near me, was I was able to nip up. Now, for a guy who's fat and tall like me, it's really, you don't see that a lot. So I made sure I did that every opportunity I had when the cameras came near me. That's probably all the footage they have of me when they came around, was just me nipping up over and over and over and over and over again. Then the next station we went to was tape study. Now, I don't know why they would have tape study at a tryout.
Seems kind of odd.
Yeah, it's a little weird. But it was cool because it was Jim Cornette's like personal like favorite matches he would show to people trying to get into the business, newer wrestlers to try, he had different matches, your basic matches, like emotional matches, hard-hitting matches on there, just to show you the different types and, to get you, give you a feel of what's to come. And then after that we had to do 1-minute promos. And again, that wasn't, for me, it was the typical wrestler promo. Oh, I'm going to see you May 29th, and I'm going to beat you for the belt, and all that crap. And I was the last person to go, so it was just me and Al Snow in the room, and he kept making me do different promos over and over and over. He was like, you're not very good, but there's something about you. There's like a presence about you. And he left it at that. Mm-hmm. So that was day one. Day two was matches. Now, I guess they wanted to get everybody out of there as soon as possible, so they had, I think, 4 10-man tag matches, all capped at like 3 minutes apiece. So you're in there for about 15 seconds to show what you have, which, people can show off their skills in 15 seconds. Me, good enough. And once that was over, I had a flight to catch, so I left early. And as I was leaving, John Laurinaitis was coming in. And I stopped him and I was like, hi, I'm Bill. I'm sorry, I have to go catch my flight back home or whatever. Thank you for the opportunity. He was like, oh, whatever. So I didn't think anything of it, And then I think it was like 2 months later. I think that was in February. Yeah, it was right around my birthday, I think. I had worked the night before. I worked at a bar in Albany, so I didn't get home until like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And 8:30, 9 o'clock rolls around, and somebody, unknown numbers calling my phone, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm not answering it, so I just kept throwing it aside. Like 10 missed calls from this number. And I look at it, I'm like, I don't even know what this number is. So I look up the area code, and it says Stamford, Connecticut, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And then I listen to the voicemail, and what's the guy's name? Ty Bailey was his name. He's like, hey, Bill, this is Ty Bailey from WWE. When you get a chance, please, give me a call back. So what I assumed was going on, I think WWE was going to be in town like a month later. So I thought I was getting a call for extra work, which would have been awesome. I was still, really excited. So I call him back, no answer. Call him back, no answer. I'm like, damn it, I just blew it.
Yeah.
So then I go to the bathroom. I, sit down for my morning
ritual.
crap.
Yeah. Let's not sugarcoat it.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and everything, and he calls me while I'm taking a crap. And I answer the phone, and he's like, "Hey, this is Ty Bailey from WWE. Just wanted to know, like how you know, like what's your situation? You know, how are you? Are you in school? Are you working? This, and that." So I explained to him, and he's like, "All right, are you sitting down?" And I'm like, "Oh, yes, I am sitting down." And he's like, "All right, well, I'm calling you to offer you a 3-year contract to WWE." And I was like, I stopped talking for a second.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to say. I thought it was a joke. So I kept asking him, like, are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? He's like, yeah, no, we're serious. We're definitely serious. We want you, you know, we want you to come down to FCW, finish up school. Of course, you know, do that first. Definitely finish up school, and then come down whenever you can. So it's like, all right, that's pretty awesome. Didn't finish school. As soon as I found that out, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire. So I don't need school anymore.
Yeah.
So then I stopped going and just getting drunk every night, which was fun. Regret it now, but it was good while it lasted.
It was just, I guess, the feeling of the moment.
Oh,
like, I just got signed by the WWE.
Absolutely. Yep. So that happened like right before my birthday in April. I didn't get down there, I think, till the end of May, beginning of June. Every week they had me doing something different, flying back and forth from Pittsburgh to get medical examinations and everything. But yeah, that's how I got signed. I was taking a crap on my toilet, and I got a call saying I was offered a contract for WWE.
You heard it here first. Well, you know, now that you're down in FCW and you're getting into the full swing of the training and stuff, what was the daily life like when you're, you know, running shows for FCW, you're training daily? You know, I assume they do a promo, you know, like we talked about the promo class earlier. What was that just like, living that daily life?
It definitely took a toll on your body. It was rough, but it was also what I signed up for, and it was awesome to me. But it was also very strenuous. Monday, Tuesday, we'd have to be at training at, I believe, 8 o'clock, 8 in the morning. And we'd do some drills, mainly blow-up drills for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Just over and over, bumping over and over and over and over, running the ropes, doing all these spots. I remember the first time I did Man in the Middle is what the drill was called. It was you get, I guess, 7 people in the corners, and 1 guy in the middle, and you run a spot with each person once, and then do another spot. You probably did about 15 spots with each person in the ring, and you're doing every single one of them. It would take sometimes 45 minutes to an hour just to finish up one session. I remember the first time I did it, in that one session, I lost 13 pounds.
Wow.
I weighed myself that morning, and I weighed myself when I was done. 13 pounds I lost. But yeah, so that was Monday, Tuesday. We'd be in the ring, blow-up drills, and then the last hour and a half, 2 hours of practice, we would have matches with each other, which is fun because we could go out there and do whatever we wanted. And Wednesday was promo class with Dusty, and we each had a minute, and they gave us the freedom to do whatever we wanted, which was good, which was fun. Because I got to do some really weird stuff. Really, really weird stuff. I mean, it was fun. It was funny. But, I mean, promo class is really just to pop everybody there. And after promo class, sometimes we'd have shows on that Wednesday. Sometimes we'd have, like, extra training with Ricky Steamboat, where he would just go over... like just different more like a facial, like emotional type class. You know, he was there for the facials and wanted you to get the crowd emotionally invested, and that's what he was helping you do in that training, that part of training. Thursdays we would always have a house show at the FCW arena, and then Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday we'd have shows just around in Florida. And you also throw in 3 days a week there training with the trainer at the gym for 2 hours, 3 hours a day. So it was really an all day. You know, you're like a 24/7 job.
Yeah.
Really, you know. But it was great. I was doing what I love to do, so I can't really complain about that.
Definitely not. And down there, you worked with a lot of great talent, a lot of guys in FCW, which are really, they're on TV, they're main eventing right now. You know, between the guys you work with, was there anyone that you just knew, like, oh, this guy's going to be the WWE champion? Or, like, who has been, like, really some of the greatest workers you worked with down there?
Well, the first time I met Roman Reigns, we got signed at the same time. He got down there like a week after I got down there. So we were both new and we both came in at the same time. So we were kind of just like, you know, let's stick together because we don't really know many people here. And I remember the first time I saw him, one of the first things I said to him, I was like, you are going to be like, you're going to be the biggest person in wrestling one day. You know, and he was always afraid of like getting fired and everything. He had no worries at all. And I mean, Seth Rollins is another one. Dean Ambrose. I mean, you could obviously tell that those guys, but even before they got to WWE, that they were going to be something big. Xavier Woods too. I mean, there's so much potential there. I mean, he's doing a great job right now. But I know that if they gave him the freedom to do whatever he wanted, he'd be right up there as a main eventer. I guarantee it.
He does have a lot of personality.
Yeah.
Now, you know, what kind of, you know, not to bring up kind of something, you know, you're a big man, don't get upset. What kind of led to your release from the WWE?
That's still, I don't know. I still don't know. So I was doing the Bobby Dutch gimmick.
How long were you there? Like,
it's about 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. That's what I thought.
Yeah. So I was doing the Bobby Dutch gimmick for a while, and then they came down and pulled me in the office, and they were like, you know what? We know that you can do this. If we want to go to it, we'll go back to it. I was injured at the time, too, so I'd have been off the TV down there for about a month. And they were like, you know, I want you to come up with something on your own. Do your own thing. And so I did. I started doing these weird promos. Now, nothing was stolen from me. But me and Husky Harris at the time, Bray Wyatt now, we have the same mind for this business and everything else. We're almost like the same person. And he was injured too. Well, not really. He was written off of TV for the Nexus at the time. But he still wanted to wrestle, so they put him under a mask and did all this stuff. So when they told me to go ahead and do my own thing, I started doing these weird promos where I'd have the lights turned down, have like a spotlight shown on me, just be acting weird. And I would just go, like, I would find the most disturbing quotes that I could find from, like, horror movies, you know, serial killers, and mend those quotes into different promos and just act like a psychopath, pretty much. And so I started doing that, and then about 2 weeks later, when they brought down Husky back down, and they put him underneath the mask or whatever, they kind of wanted him to do the same thing. And he had been wanting to do that for a while. We actually talked about doing something like that. We tagged for a little bit while we were down there. Then he got brought up and I got hurt. But obviously he's now Bray Wyatt. You can see him on television every week, and more power to him. He's doing a great job, and I still talk to him from time to time. He's a good friend of mine. But like I said, he didn't steal anything from me because we both had the same exact mindset for this thing. So maybe that could have been something to do with my release. I don't know, because we both wanted to do the same thing, but they kept him. They released me. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm not blowing smoke up my ass or anything, but I was very well liked down there. And when I had gotten released, I went down to visit a few months later. And from what I was told, I'm one of the only people that they brought back in to just do something with FCW while I wasn't under contract. And they made me give like this big speech and everything to everybody in the back. And I mean, it was really good. It was a really cool experience. But actually, the day I got released, that was a pretty crappy day, because a few of us went to the beach, having a few beers or whatever, and we're sitting in the ocean, drinking in the ocean. We're not supposed to, but I guess where we were, it was like a privately owned section, so the people who own that were at their house. They called the police. Police come and grab us out of the water, threatened to arrest us, give us these citations, like $300 a piece. So I'm like, whatever, who cares? Let's still have a good time. So then I walked back over to where we were set up, and there was I looked down at my phone. I saw that I was getting a call from a restricted number, and I think it was Seth Rollins was sitting right next to me, and he saw it too, and he had these big bug eyes, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and it was either my mother or it was WWE calling to fire me, because that was Black Friday is what they call it. So I answered the phone, and so this is so and so from WWE. We're gonna put you in a conference call with John Laurinaitis. I was like, shit, all right. Yeah. And then the rest is history. But that was a pretty crappy day. I almost got arrested, and then I got fired from WWE.
Yeah, it's
so sucks.
Yeah, not a good one. Now, after your release, was it tough to stay motivated into wrestling, or did you kind of I want to jump? You were excited to get back into the indies, or?
See, I was extremely motivated, because I got signed rather quickly and never really got to experience the indies as well as I wanted to. So I wanted to take that opportunity to almost go back in time and live the indies as I wanted to beforehand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's really what I did. And now it's working out.
I was gonna say, you and Dan Berry you've been making a lot of noise lately. Mm-hmm. What's the story behind this Team Tremendous gimmick? How did this come about?
Well, when I got released, Dan called me up and he was like, "Hey, whenever you move back to New York, we got to do something. We got to do something together." So when I moved back, I think it was for FTW down in Long Island. I went down there, and we started teaming together. It was me, him, and Ken Scampy at the time, and we were Team Tremendous as a threesome, I guess. So we did that for about a year or so, and then Ken Scampy had to retire, so it was just me and Dan. And me and Dan started doing our own thing, and we started getting, different opportunities here and there. But we were doing the same thing over and over and over. And it wasn't really it wasn't fun for us anymore. So we were almost going to call it quits. And then he decided, he was like, "Hey, let's try this gimmick out." There's a company, Interspecies Wrestling, where they focus on weird, outlandish gimmicks. So I was like, I don't know. I was also teaming with Smith James at the time as well, who's now Bull Dempsey down in NXT. So I was, even though I wasn't enjoying what I was doing, really I wasn't having a lot of fun because it was the same thing over and over and over. I was still trying to get my job back with WWE at that point, and I figured if they saw something stupid and gimmicky like this, that'd be it. So then Smith got signed, and I talked to Dan. I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just go out and do it. So we had the idea for Team Tremendous Investigations, which is pretty much the buddy cop tag team. So again, getting the whole Bubba Rogers gimmick, the whole get up and everything. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? But when we came out, and we come out to the Beverly Hills Cop theme song, once that started playing, the crowd kind of just went silent and was like, what the hell is this, And then we came out, and they, exploded. And I was like, they don't even know who I am here, and this is weird, this is crazy. And then we went out there, the match was okay, but it wasn't about the match, it was about just the experience, I guess. I had never had that much interaction with the crowd before, and they loved it. In turn, we loved it, and promotion started loving it, and we started getting calls from different promoters all over the place. So it was kind of like, here we go, we got these two guys, serious wrestlers, well, not serious wrestlers, trying to expand, get more exposure. And we were just, at a plateau. But once we did something stupid and stopped caring, that's when the ball started rolling and we started getting way more exposure than we were beforehand.
Definitely. What has been your favorite match of your career so far?
My favorite match of my career? That's a tough one. So there's I don't know if I can just pinpoint one.
You can't pinpoint just one. Well,
let's see.
Maybe if you can't pinpoint your favorite, just a moment or.
Down in FCW, me and Seth Rollins had a few matches that I really enjoyed. And he's the type of guy that you can put anybody in front of him and he will turn it into gold. And that's what I liked about wrestling him, because he made me look good. He was the FCW 15 champion at the time, which is every match he wrestles is a 15-minute Iron Man match. So we had a match, and that was like kind of a test for me, I found out, too, to see if I could go 15 minutes with him. And we had... and he still says, to this day, he's like, that was one of his favorite matches down in FCW at that time. That was probably one of my best matches to date. I hold a win over him too, so that's pretty cool. Hold a win over the WWE champion.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pretty much every match that we have, me and Dan and Beyond Wrestling, is really good. They just give us some of the best tag teams that they have going now. One of my favorite matches there, it was me and Dan versus Super Cop Dick Justice and Colt Cabana, or Officer Colt Cabana.
Doing the officer.
I think I saw the
Yeah.
I think if you see that spot right there, it's all four finger guns pointed at each other. I don't think anybody broke a sweat in this match, but it was the most entertaining match I've ever been a part of in my entire life. So then you have matches like this. We had a 6-man match there. It was me and Dan, guy Biff Busick, versus the Young Bucks and Kevin Steen. And that match, from start to finish, was just like we threw everything at the crowd, and they loved it. We loved it. So I mean, I can't really say I have a favorite match in mind. A lot of the times I forget too because I've had a lot of concussions. So
naturally.
Yeah, so a lot of the times, like, somebody will be like, "Oh man, we wrestled each other like a few years ago." I'll be like, "Oh,
Really?
I thought I just met you."
Yeah.
You know, so.
So
But,
we heard one Beyond Wrestling, but which promotions are you guys working for now, and where can our fans see you next?
well, we work for Beyond Wrestling. We work for CZW, PWG now, which is great. Interspecies Wrestling, C4 up in Canada. Again, I forget a lot of things. NYWC in Long Island. XWA in Rhode Island, which is an up-and-coming promotion now. And they're getting a lot of exposure. Where can you see us next? This is airing Friday.
Yeah, this would be, yes.
Okay. So, June 26th and 27th in Queens, New York at the New Elks Lodge, I guess, for Impact Championship Wrestling. Night 1, we will be wrestling, I believe, the IWGP Tag Champs, The Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. Night 2, we'll be wrestling a local tag team, unbelievable guys, and knowing them for quite some time, EYFBO. And then June 20... What was that, 26th, 27th? 28th.
27th, yep.
June 28th will be at Beyond Wrestling in Providence, Rhode Island, against the world's cutest tag team, Joey Ryan and Candice LeRae. Then I believe July 11th, CZW at the ECW Arena. It will be Team Tremendous versus the Beaver Boys versus the Young Bucks in a triple threat match. July 18th in Toronto, Canada for House of Hardcore. And I think the weekend after that, PWG out in Reseda, California. And that's all I can remember now. I have stuff written down, I think.
That was still good. Of course, we're going to be showing on here, but you can follow Bill on Twitter. And, your name escaped me, but Bill have it on the screen.
At WWE Dutch. Too bitter to give up the name.
Why
you can also follow me on Instagram, too, at the same name. Which I created after I got fired, too. So,
it is what it is.
At WWE Dutch.
Of course, fans, thank you for watching this exclusive interview with Bill Carr from Fans Perspective. I'm Steve Hatch, and have a good night.